The country's largest teachers' union, the NZEI, says teachers are fleeing the profession and would-be teachers are choosing other professions instead as the cost of living in our major cities makes the job increasingly unattractive. This will come to a head next month, of course, with teachers going into formal wage negotiations. The figure being sought currently is standing at 16% over 2 years. As with nurses, the Finance Minister, Grant Robertson, has signalled a determination to find the money for a meaningful increase. But with DHBs in debt, the health system in desperate need of major capital expenditure and real pressure on wages in the public sector, the budget will not be able to match demand with supply. We've been looking at Vote Health at length, of course, and we have more to come. But education is a major pressure point for the government. Stories like that of Kaveeta Shiri-wastow, who can't afford to live in Auckland, so spends 15 hours a week in her car and $200 a week on gas getting to and from her teaching job.
I live in Thames.
And you work in?
I work in Clendon, in Manurewa.
And so how long do you spend each day in the car?
In driving terms, it takes me about an hour and a half, so 3 hours a day.
An hour and a half each way each day?
Yes.
And what distance are you travelling each day?
I'm probably approximately more than 100, I think about 180 k's a day.
180 k's a day to get to and from work. And why do you do that, Kaveeta?
Because I love where I'm teaching and I love the children that I teach. And I'm a very passionate teacher.
I can hear them.
All about making a difference.
I can hear them in the background. How old are they?
They're year 3s and 4s.
Yeah, it's a lovely age.
Yes.
Yeah, and they really bond with their teacher right at that age. So I can understand the appeal of the job. Why don't you live locally? Why don't you live nearer the school?
Because there aren't actually jobs out my ways, unfortunately, because a lot of people are moving out of Auckland and they're moving into smaller places like Thames, Coromandel, as well as other areas of New Zealand where it's cheaper living. So
there aren't any jobs near you. Why don't you move to where the job is? Why don't you live nearer the school in South Auckland?
Oh, it's way too expensive to live in Auckland. And I'm a single mum with 2 kids, 2 beautiful boys, and unfortunately it's just way too expensive.
So on a teacher's salary, you can't afford to live in South Auckland?
Yes. Yes, because a 1-bedroom house will cost at least 300 or more, 350 or more. And then you've got to put your, power and all that on top of that.
And are you managing to save any money?
No. No, not really.
And do you have a student loan still?
Yes, I do.
So when do you think you will be financially able to start thinking about one day buying a home?
Pretty much when the teacher's pay goes up, if it goes up, and if the government is able to provide some sort of packages for teachers, would be really good. Even if they look at something like that. I mean, because education is in crisis at the moment. If nothing's done about it, these kids, they're not going to have much of an education. They're going to have social problems. Some of them may even end up in streets. So we can't have that happen. So it needs to be addressed now.
Kaveeta Shiri-wastow.